Right, it's a huge game, Man City versus Liverpool. I thought we'd do a combined 11. It sometimes gets a little bit difficult when you include 90s players, 2000s players. I think the
Yeah,
Klopp Pep era is 15 years combined. Let's
yeah.
do a combined 11 from the two eras. Let's start in goal. I actually think it's the one that we don't need to debate because on all the shows I ever do for the last 5, 6 years, I think Alisson's been the best keeper in the world for 5, 6 years. What's your kind of perception as a Liverpool fan about Alisson's legacy at Liverpool?
Listen, for me, he's the best goalkeeper I've ever seen at Liverpool. He'll probably go down as one of our greatest ever. I know, obviously, back in the day there was Clements and stuff, but yeah, Alisson's undoubted. Now, Ederson is a fantastic goalkeeper, but I think like Alisson is just that level. I think Alisson's just a complete goalkeeper, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's everything you need, and I think if he had more Premier League titles, I think he's going up against Cech and Schmeichel for everyone in terms of ability. I think the Schmeichel winning what 6, 7, 8 league titles
Yeah.
is hard. I think Liverpool have to start winning a few more, and it might be difficult for
It would,
Alisson.
yeah, it would have been a lot nicer if we didn't have to compete against Man City and Pep. But listen, we'll hopefully add a couple more before the time's up.
Okay, I think we both agreed then. Alisson in goal. Obviously a back four to start off with. Let's start off with right back. I guess you'd say Trent. I just don't know defensively if you can get around his kind of susceptibility defensively, and then in terms of Kyle Walker as well. What's your kind of
There's an
perception on that?
there's an absolute ironclad case for Trent. I think he is world class. He gets a harsh treatment from the media and other fans at times, but it has to be Walker for me. He's a lot older, so he's done it a lot longer, and I think all round, like especially Walker in his prime, yeah, I would have to edge Walker on this one.
Does Trent play? Should Trent play in midfield for England? Not in the group games, not in the internationals that are going to come around in 2020 in March 2024. Let's say it's Germany, England quarter final of the Euros. Should he be playing for England, starting for England?
I think yes. Like you look at his skill set, there's not many out there that has what he has, and people say it's not as simple as bringing a right back to the midfield. But he's never been a traditional right back. He's always been that a little bit more. But I think definitely Liverpool or Southgate is missing a trick by not playing him, and you need to unlock his true potential because he's just a phenomenal footballer.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Kyle Walker at right back. What can I say about his legacy? And I still think he's at a physical kind of level that is scary for someone of his age. I mean, it's crazy. He's still as quick as
Yeah,
ever. The two
exactly.
centre backs. This is hard because I think City have got two that could easily both start instead of anyone from Liverpool. Because I think you could argue Diaz, you could argue Vincent Company, even throw in John Stones.
Yeah.
Obviously Van Dijk. Where does Van Dijk rank out of all of those that I've just said?
Honestly, I am gonna say number one. I mean, listen, people have more. Some people are more decorated than Van Dijk, but I think as a pure specimen, he is the complete defender in his prime. Who I still think he's back to his best this year. I think he's been phenomenal. I just think Van Dijk is an absolute unbelievable defender. After his cruciate, he came back a little bit shaky, but I think he's back to his best this season. I'd have Van Dijk in there. And I City have a couple, as you say. You have Company, you have Stones, you have Diaz. It's hard. You, I'd probably edge it. I'd probably edge a Company.
Based on what the kind of legacy, how
Leadership,
iconic.
like yeah, like I just a centre back partnership of Van Dijk and Company, a prime Company as well. Like Company was there from the get go, kind of the Sheikh Mansour era. Not so much the Pep. He was also the Pep era, so he's been there for a lot. That goal against Leicester, yeah,
Oh,
I'd
it's
probably
amazing. I was
yeah.
screaming. I was screaming when that
I
happened. I couldn't believe it.
I
Amazing.
one time in his entire career he pulled that off. By the way, I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
And
But
people forget about that running. City had to win 14 games in a row to win the league title that season. And Leicester City were incredible. Harry Maguire actually missed a big opportunity. Iheanacho as well. You could
yeah,
have been 100-point winners of the Premier League with a Champions League win as well. And invincible. And if we hadn't beaten you, had you lost one game all season when you got
yeah,
97 points?
yeah, yeah. So we have the John Stone. I think that was the same season. The John Stones off the line.
Yeah, 2-1.
That as
Leroy
well.
Sane.
It's the margins. We could have been invincible Centurions. We could have been. Oh, it sickens me. Like it does really sicken me. But yeah, City are just a different level sometimes.
Yeah, 100% agree. Yeah, I like that. I think Van Dijk and company is surreal how good that is.
Yeah,
Left back, I think out of all the money that City have spent and all the world class players that we've had and begin to develop, that left back option for City's always been really, really weak.
Yeah.
You know, Nathan Ake definitely for a 6 month spell, winning the treble, incredible. But
Not
then you're
bad.
thinking Gael Clichy, Kolarov.
Delph's done a couple of shifts there as well, didn't
Delph, yeah, he was amazing, but then he kind of fell off because he doesn't want to play left back. I think the one that stands out for me is Andy Robertson. You know, season in, season out.
I think you're right. Out of all the money City have spent, it's been the kind of one troubled position, the one where you've never truly had an absolute world beater. But I think Mr. Consistent, Andy Robertson, since he's come in since in 17-18, he's just been unbelievable. He's just exactly what Klopp ordered in that system. So I would have to go with Robertson. But City have had a couple of shouts, and I said Ake's not done too bad in his spell there, you know, winning the treble. So you could say him, but I think as a pure left back, you go Robbo.
Let's do our midfield. We'll do it one DM, two more forward-thinking midfielders. I always found the Liverpool midfield weird because I don't think. Obviously, you're good on the ball, you know, but the main part of the Liverpool midfield, in my opinion, in peak Liverpool, you know, Klopp era, is to almost just give the ball as quick as possible to Salah. It's almost like an engine room. It's almost like a motor or a gear in a car. It's not really about looking good. I don't think Henderson, Fabinho ever looked great on the eye. When they needed to, with Thiago in midfield, you obviously did look decent in midfield and look beautiful in the eye sometimes. But I feel like when you did do that, I think it was a couple of years ago, Thiago in particular, it never quite worked. You know, never quite had the same ferocity.
I think that the quad chase season where Thiago was absolutely fantastic, but in general in the Klopp era, the midfield was never the fancy dance. You know, you just had lads who just done the job. You had Milner coming in, Henderson, Wijnaldum, who was an unsung hero. Fabinho for a period was absolutely unbelievable. And if he had continued, he could have easily been taking this spot. But if you're talking DM, there's only one man, and his name is Rodri. Surely, right?
Oh, Rodri, yeah. No, I thought you were going with Fabinho. Yeah, no,
Rodri.
Yeah. I think Rodri. I think Fabinho has a closer shout with the likes of Fernandinho and Henderson if it's before last season. But Rodri, I actually think Rodri should have been winning the Ballon d'Or. I thought Messi should have won the Ballon d'Or because of the World Cup. That's my opinion. But if it wasn't to be Messi, it would have been Rodri instead of Haaland for me. I don't think City win anything without Rodri. I think we could have won something without Haaland. If that makes sense.
I said the exact same thing. Everyone was like, "Oh, Messi." It's like, okay, fair enough, but it's not Haaland. Obviously, an unbelievable striker, scored so many goals, but Rodri is the key to that City cog. You look at how poor you are without him. You're still decent, but like Rodri is just unbelievable. Won you the Champions League as well, in essence. Fabinho was absolutely world class for 2 or 3 years, but he literally overnight fell off a cliff. And for me, Rodri is the DM in this team.
Yeah, I love that. Moving forward then, who's the kind of most advanced midfielder that you would nominate in this position that plays that either Ilkay Gundogan role or the De Bruyne role, but for Liverpool? Is there a standout for you?
Again, because of our midfield, we don't have maybe a like for like, but like Gini Wijnaldum was such a good player for us. He just done the job, contributed a couple of goals and assists as well. I was sad to see him go, so I'd have him in there. He gets a shout. Henderson in the season we won the league was absolutely superb. But I think, in all honesty, the City, this midfield is a City sweep. I think it's Rodri, KDB, and Bernardo Silva. I think it's a City sweep.
I love that. I think
City have always had the midfield over everyone, especially Liverpool. So I think it's a 3 out of 3 for City.
I like that. There are some Liverpool fans you do videos with. They'd be putting in Henderson. They'd be putting in Thiago. They'd be putting in. I like the. You're talking sense. I like that, mate.
I always do. I get a hard rep on TikTok. I talk sense.
I think De Bruyne. You could even throw in Fernandinho. You could even throw in Ilkay Gundogan. David Silva hasn't even been nominated, but De Bruyne. I think that's obviously talking about the title race. I've been doing videos all season saying that I think Liverpool and Arsenal are the ones that can win the title if City don't do it. And obviously there's so much history against City in terms of 4 in a row is very, very hard to do, and the kind of what happens to sides when you achieve, winning a treble. What happened to Liverpool when you nearly won the quadruple? You fell off a cliff. City haven't quite fallen off in the same way, but I think Liverpool have got that ability to have a go at City, and I think that's a massive factor. So the likes of De Bruyne not being in this game gives you an opportunity is where I'm going with that. And I think De Bruyne coming back at the back end of this season is huge for City, because I think he'll give us an extra 10, 11, 12 points out of nowhere. Just in terms of the title race then, how do you see it panning out for Liverpool? Are you actually in the title race, or is it more if the opportunity arises?
We're definitely in the conversation 100%, but What I tried to tell Arsenal fans last year, they were yapping, they were getting so cocky, and I was like, lads, calm yourselves. This is Man City and Pep Guardiola. You don't understand the levels these guys hit. I've seen us lose out on 2 titles by 1 point each. Yeah, Villa being 2-0 up and capitulating. That will stay with me to the day I die. I genuinely, I'm not even saying this jokingly. Like, I'm still not over that, and most of the fans aren't over that. That was one of the worst days of my life. Honest to God, it was terrible.
Yeah, I was loving life, and especially
Yeah.
I think we talked about it briefly, but that 2-1 Liverpool. Even though I think it's Firmino scored for you, I'm pretty sure, but when Aguero scored past Van Dijk and Alisson, and that 2-1, the standard, I think it's the highest standard Premier League title race ever seen in the league, but people don't talk about it because it's not a rivalry. I went to City Liverpool games before the takeover. There's no security between Liverpool and City fans. That's how kind of little the rivalry was. The front three, I think that on the right, Mohamed Salah. What do you make of his season so far?
I think he's been very good. A lot of people, for some reason, Salah will always have critics. People will always it's due to visuals. People think, oh, he's not as fancy on the ball as some, so he gets discredited. But yeah, he's been a key cog in our system as always. He's been phenomenal. Yeah, we're so like there was talk of Salah going to Saudi Arabia in the summer, and quite literally, I wouldn't have taken 250 million for Salah because realistically, who could you get with that money in this market? You can't replace his numbers. He is key for us. He's overtaken Steven Gerrard for me in terms of all-time Liverpool, my favorite.
Wow.
Obviously, I'm 26, so like Gerrard's earlier days was a little bit on when I was on the younger side, but Mohamed Salah has been ever present in my prime of watching football, shall we say? And yeah, Mohamed Salah, the Egyptian king, I think he rightfully slots in. He slots in at right wing here.
Yeah, I think Mahrez gets close in terms of his skill level. I don't think he's miles off Salah, but I think they're just different kind of players. And I think Mahrez is definitely a shout. Even Bernardo Silva, if you want to put him in that position. But I love Salah there. Who's the left winger for you? Because I think City fans would throw in a Sane. They'd throw in Leroy Sane, Sterling, a few others. Even Jack Grealish. You know, is it just a clear cut kind of Mane situation?
I wouldn't say it's absolutely clear cut Mane, but I would say it is Mane. I think Mane at left wing was far more important to the Liverpool system than any of those left wings were at City. Like, Sane, my God, I have nightmares. Every time he played Liverpool, he was unbelievable, and he was a big loss. He's doing really well now at Bayern again. Obviously had some injuries, but Sane was different gravy. But I would just say Sterling and Grealish are just a bit below Mane for me. Sane in his absolute prime absolutely has a case, but I would edge it Sadio Mane. I think for sure I would just have him there.
And in your opinion, the Mane shout is that Salah's more influential in that generation for Klopp than Mane? Because a lot of Liverpool fans say actually Mane was the guy.
Well, I think in the title chasing season, in the title winning season, Mane, like a lot of times, had more to his game. He could, he was more dynamic, shall we say. I think he's an unsung hero. I think Salah took a lot of the shine off him, but yeah, he was unbelievable. I think there's a lot of recency kind of relook at Mane. That season, he was on the decline. It was the right time to let him go. Him being back wouldn't have changed anything last season, for example, but man, what a player he was. But yeah, I would have Mane in there at the left.
What about the striker options then? Because obviously it has to be a City player with Aguero and Haaland and maybe a few others. Obviously Firmino gets a shout, but who would you pick in there? Because I think Aguero's got the legacy, but Haaland, I mean, his ceiling could be above Aguero already. We could already sort of see that, and he's only 22 years old.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad choice, is it, Aguero or Haaland? But I think Haaland's only been there for one season, but the impact he's already had is crazy.
Who would you rather play against if you're a centre back?
That's a good question. I honestly think I'd rather play against Haaland.
Yeah, I think
it's a simpler task in practicality with Haaland. Just stay on him, mark him out of the game. Just don't give him the space in the box. But Aguero just had that much more to his game. I think Aguero was absolutely phenomenal. Could score from literally anywhere in the box. The amount of 6 yard just cutting across the front post. He's unbelievable. I would, just for now, still edge it Aguero in this debate. I think because Haaland only had one season, only scored 54 goals, won the treble. So I mean, he should be doing more there. But yeah,
I agree.
Aguero.
Imagine that front three as well, the pace and the ability, and actually Aguero always had a very good record against Liverpool. I remember the goal against Pepe Reina where you, from like a 1 degree angle from the goal, absolutely surreal. What's your take on the game then? Just a quick kind of prediction. How do you think it will pan out?
Listen, I think it has a draw written all over it, and I'd take a draw right now. But it's a season-defining game for Liverpool, in my opinion, in terms of the title. Win this game, absolutely proper in the race now. Lose it, I think it kind of shows that we're just not ready yet. People will say it's too early, but again, we've lost titles by 1 point against City. This is where the titles are won and lost, and have been in the years. So I'd love to see us win, but I just can't see it. We haven't won there in 8 years since 2015. Yous haven't lost there in about a year. Yeah. So I'm saying a 2-2 draw for me.
I think that's very optimistic. I think you've been fantastic this season, and the likes of Szoboszlai and McAllister, if they can click in midfield, I think you've got a punching chance, 1,000,000%. Mate, that I will now display with the help of my editor the 4-3-3. That is a beautiful 11. I love the Aguero Mane Salah connection. Thank you so much for helping me build it, mate. Where can people find you?
They can find me anywhere at Mr. Paddy Murphy. I haven't really tapped into the YouTube game just yet, but maybe this can be the Kickstarter. Who knows?
Do it, mate. And if we lose, I don't want any of you dancing with the Irish song underneath with the scoreline. I don't want that. Please don't do it.
Whenever we go top of the league, I have my little dance that I do. So if we do, I think I might have to pull it out. I'm sorry.
Class, bro. Thanks so much for your time.